evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our show tonight. I am Leslie Dalencour, and we have a treat for you. I have a phenomenal writer, a Haitian writer, but on top of all that is so much more. Anyway, I don't want to waste time. His name is Lionel Guerdes. Lionel, bienvenue. Welcome to our show tonight.
Hey, thank you very much, Leslie. I'm really excited to be
I am too.
At your show. And to start with, I want to say hi to all your viewers and
thank you. And you know, I would like you to kind of tell our viewers who you are and what you do, because not only you're a writer, you're also an instructor. Or do you say that?
An educator.
You're teaching,
Yes.
Educator.
Yes.
And on top of it all, you are going to be part of the Miami Book Fair, so we have to talk about all that. Kind of introduce yourself.
Yes.
You talk to them for me.
Oh yes, my name is Lionel Guerdes, and as Leslie just mentioned, I'm an educator and I'm a writer, and on top of that, I'm an entertainer also.
Oh yes, you're an entertainer. We're going to talk about that. The South Beach time.
Yeah, the South Beach days.
South Beach days. Yes. So, so you wrote a trilogy.
Yes.
Would you kind of tell our viewers what is a trilogy?
The trilogy book I wrote, it has a whole beginning to it. First, I went through writer blocks that lasted nearly 45 years. I used to be a writer, a journalist back in the days
of... Yes, I see that
Dieudonné Fardin. I used to be part of the young Petit Samedi Soir generation.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that in Haiti.
Back in those days, you have people, writers and journalists like Daniela Ferrière, Pierre-André Cliton, Gasner Raymond, qu'on a perdu. It was really a huge thing in what they say the independent press in Haiti.
Right.
And we have Jean-Dominique on one side, you have Marcus Garcia. It was really quite a coordination between the radio independent press and then the written press. It was
and
really
so
something.
What were you at that time writing about?
Oh, I was back then I write a lot of poetry. I publish a lot of love poems, and on top of that I do geopolitical analysis.
Whoa.
I had that what I would
Under
say
the
that
Duvalier?
Yes, but I use a pseudonyme, a prête-nom, comme on dit.
Ok, un prête-nom.
Puisque je sais que les Guerdes, c'est Lionel Guerdes, mon nom, c'est Lionel Guerdes. Et il y avait un problème avec les Guerdes. There was a certain Jean Guerdes dans Jeune Haïti who came into, was involved into an invasion. And since then, the Guerdes was on that list, so I had to do a thing with my last name, Guerdes. I turned Guerdes into Deger and Lionel into Léonie Deger. That was the prête-nom que j'ai utilisé avec
c'est magnifique ça, le Petit Samedi Soir. Donc c'était beaucoup plus la poésie à cette époque.
Et puis des essais politiques, political essays and stuff like that.
What gave you the bug to start writing? I mean, because to write poems and to write for the Petit Samedi Soir and all that.
It was something, in Haiti, when you grew up, I'm going to probably tell you about that. I was very repressed growing up.
Right. You told me that you grew up in Les Cayes.
In Les Cayes.
And tell me a little bit about that.
The way I was an adoptee, and in Haiti, adoptee don't have the same treatment as the Timoun Andan.
Right.
An adoptee is a Timoun Deo.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, either you're born with one parent or you get adopted by two of your parents.
By a family? So,
yes.
Okay.
And even though they tried the best they could not help it. It's just c'est Timundeo, c'est Timundeo.
They don't consider you as their children.
But I always felt that they could not give me the emotional,
the love and emotion
the
that
love.
you need.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that a mother or a father would give you.
Yeah.
And so how did that affect you as you were growing up in Haiti at that time?
Oh, it certainly gives you a sense of you don't feel that you belong, you don't feel that you love. It creates a lot of really inside feeling, emotional thing that could really destroy your sense of identity. But for some reason, I spent a lot of time reading books, lots of time into a world of fantasy.
Into your own world.
Yes.
Yes.
That helps a lot.
Very.
And
very
that's why I always say that I spend more time in the book than on the street of Haiti.
Which is fantastic for you, because you could have become a vagabond.
Oui, big time. And that's why even after all these years, I can be taken to the cleaner just like that, because I don't know the street like I should. Yeah.
So you were living Okai, and then you went to Port-au-Prince?
And things that really bad in Okai, that's when we got, that's the time that we really things got bad is when the Jeune Haiti made an invasions around the Jeremy area, and there was the Guerdes that was involved, and Astrel Benjamin back then, the commander-in-chief of Lekai, they plotted something, and they get the Guerdes into a lot of trouble. Yeah. They got arrested and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's so when you had to flee Lekai. That's
when we went
and then go to Port-au-Prince.
Hiding into Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince is much bigger, larger. While in Lekais, people know where you are. Your address.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows
everything.
You cannot get away from being harassed.
They'll find you.
In Port-au-Prince, we feel safer. Even then, in Port-au-Prince, things got bad.
Right. And so then, did you feel lost when you got into Port-au-Prince?
Of course, because I'm a provincial. And I enjoy Lekai despite all the other issues of emotional detachment from my parents. But I love
living
Lekai.
Also in your own world.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why my book Lekai, the first trilogy.
Yes, let's talk about that Lekai.
Lekai. It's a labor of love in the sense that I talk about the good stuff, and I also talk about the bad stuff.
It's always as a writer you have to say how you feel. But I grew up in Port-au-Prince, and I know that the people that were from Lekai were very attached to Lekai. You know what I mean? The people that were from Jeremy, my mother was from Jeremy, but unfortunately she died when I was too young, so I didn't get to know Jeremy. But I had friends that were from Lekai, from Jacmel, and
Lekai is a beautiful city. Even the countryside of Lekai.
Yes,
I wrote a lot about the countryside, even in my poetry.
So in that book, do you describe how your youth went?
Yes, and I describe everything. As a matter of fact, when you're reading Lekai, I put you right in the Lekais of the 1950s and the 1960s.
Wow.
And the way I describe the street, the houses, the cathedral, the churches,
and
the
the
square. People say, oh my, you make me. If I didn't know Lekai, now I know Lekai.
That's
great. The Lekais of the 1950s and 60s.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic that you were able to relive and then also transmit it now to other people to feel what you were feeling at that moment.
Yeah, because back then there was a vivre ensemble in Lekais, because all the families, they know each other.
It's just like one big neighborhood.
Yeah, they mix, even to the one with the more money or with the less money. It's like the middle class, the upper class, they kind of mingle.
And on Sunday, everybody goes to the church, and then they go to the beach, or they go to the mountain a little bit, kind of.
Yeah, and they all related in one form or in another.
And Haitians are related.
Yeah.
You know,
By definition, right? Or genetically speaking.
Genetically speaking, parce que you know the fathers also have kids en dehors and so on and so forth. But we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about what made you Lekai be your first book?
Because
you wanted to start by the beginning?
Is to follow the trilogy order. Lekai's the first 10 years of my life as a child. And then when things got bad, we went into Port-au-Prince, and I spent another 10 years or so, and then things got really bad. Really bad.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, in the sense that when my parents left, they left when they left Lekai, most of their property,
everything,
businesses, they left them in the hands of their family, and in the hand of associates. But guess what? When you're not on the ground,
that's it.
They tell you stories.
That's it.
Before you know it, the money that we were expecting to come to us
never came.
Yeah, not only but start dwindling down.
Yeah, and after that, they told you that the business belonged to them.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And I even had some suspicions that some of the reason that we had to run out of Lekai, maybe some of my father's associates might have been plotting with the Makut.
Oh, that's a good movie. That's a good movie.
We have everything in my trilogy.
Oh my God, that's a good book.
You have love, you struggle. I even have a scene where Tonton Makut come to our boutique in Lekai, and you give things you give things, and they pay when they get paid.
Right.
Credits, and yet this guy didn't want to pay, and he threatened to shoot my mother. And as a child witnessing this, that was my first scare of the Tonton Makut. When I see the way this guy was. Yeah,
incredible. So they were taking advantage of their positions.
Oh, of course.
And abusing that. So now you're in Port-au-Prince and things are going a little bit bad. They decide to go to the United States.
Yes. When the first thing that happened when money was not coming, we had some tap transportation camionette.
That's beautiful.
And my dad, he was born bourgeois. And you know how the bourgeois, petit bourgeois feels. For him to get behind a wheel and to do tap from Carrefour to La Ville,
which is
it's an abomination.
What do they call the new thing here? Uber and Lyft. But listen, wait 1 second. We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to party?
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, with our fantastic, fabulous guest, fascinating guest, Lionel Guerdes, and we were talking about tap in Lekai. Anyway, so let's go.
It's really I mentioned all that in my second trilogy, Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
The second trilogy, which is what's the name?
Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
Dynasty.
Duvalier's Pax Haitiana Dynasty, and my coming of age in the time of Compas Direct and Mini Jazz. That was you probably were not in Haiti when
I partied in
the 70s.
In the 70s with Difficile, Gypsy.
Yeah, I mentioned the
Chercher, Tabou Combo, Nemo Jean-Baptiste, Septentrional, and something else.
Yeah.
And we have some good stuff.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, like kermesse on Sundays they did kermesse.
Yeah.
So
I mentioned
that's how
the
we got
kermesse with
Right.
Jean-Baptiste
Yes.
at the around the one point. And I mentioned
yes.
the casino where we had Coury, Antoine Coury on his motorcycle.
Correct.
You probably know all these figures back in those days.
Yes.
And I didn't mention an incident where we had to run. Somebody shoot something.
Yeah.
But I don't want
in
to.
Haiti, they shoot in the air a
And
lot.
we all had to run, and that's when I realized that how when it comes to survival, we all act like the zebras or the cows.
Of course, I mean,
you all
if you
run,
hear shots, it's everywhere in the world. If here in Miami, if I'm somewhere and they're shooting,
you have to run.
I'm
for
running.
your
I'm
life.
running. Or I'm laying down on the floor. I don't know what I would do first.
but there was one thing that happened while my dad was doing the tap.
Right.
One evening, somebody asked to pay a little more for my dad to drop him into a place near Montouy, and on his way back, he got stopped by the police checkpoints, and they accused him of he's involved into some kind of a Camoquin conspiracy.
Oh my gosh.
And
they arrested him.
Yeah, my brother had to spend a couple hours on being questions.
But just a couple hours.
Yeah, a couple hours.
Because people, they take your tap, and that's the last thing they hear from you.
But he was lucky. For some reason, they didn't.
He was well protected by God.
But since then, he made that decision to
leave the country. So when you left Haiti, where did you go?
I ended up in Miami.
Miami.
Again, my other sibling, my two other siblings went to Chicago to live with my dad.
Right.
That was already there.
I think it's the best thing. I went, I love Washington, D.C., but I am not for the winter. And I lived like probably 35 years in Washington. And then I said, that's it, I'm coming to Miami.
Yeah, Miami. Hey, at the end of the day, all of my family, they all come down to Miami.
Yeah, it's the weather, it's everything. It's
Chicago.
the beach right there. You know, every time I come to do the show and I walk into the campus of FIU, and I remember walking through the snow in Washington, D.C. Oh my gosh, I thought, why didn't I know about FIU? But anyway, so tell me, so you came to Miami.
I came to Miami with $20 in my pocket.
$20.
Dropped me off. And it's part of the whole thing about being a team.
That's the second book.
The third trilogy.
Oh, now you already have the third.
The Miami, Florida.
Okay, so that's when, yes.
And when I first arrived, and of course by the time I'm done spending money on taxi and get into the place where I'm supposed to stay, I only had $10 in my pocket. I buy ice cream for the kids, all that stuff, and then the $10 I had, I sent it back to Haiti. It never got there.
Oh.
You know how it is.
How did you send it?
Oh, to an envelope and posted it and all that. But
I mean, they see that there is dollars in there.
Oh, of course,
$10 at that time was what? How many
lots
goods?
of money.
100 goods.
It was probably a better rate of exchange back then. Now it's a disaster.
I remember a dollar was 5 gourds when I left here.
Yeah, we're back in the days.
So $10 was 50.
It's still $50.
I'm not good at math. but I didn't go to school.
But I went to some really serious
changes in your life.
Oh yeah, because at the end of even though I was what we call not emotionally disturbed because from my parents, but I always had a roof over my head. I always have.
You did odd jobs at the beginning,
and
then you survived.
Oh yeah, I put myself to school because I knew that there's no way I'm going to want to stay in this kind of factory, restaurant, washing dishes thing. Right. So I went to Miami-Dade College and I went to FIU. Yeah, it just.
And what did you study?
I studied international studies, sociology.
Wow,
that's why I'm a geopolitical student.
Yeah.
Student of geopolitics.
So talking about that, who is that gorgeous creature in the front of that book?
Oh, that Miami, Florida thing? I knew you were going to come.
I couldn't resist.
Nutty.
I am naughty.
It's, believe it or not, it's moi.
It's fantastic, man. That's great to have that, to do that, because you know, when I was very, very young, and I went to Haiti and I shot some pictures, and one of them or a couple of them were naked on the beach, and someone wanted to make me pay money for that, and I didn't know what to do, so I went to my father and say, "What am I going to do?" He said, "Just do a record and then make the cover of the record this."
Yeah.
And then they couldn't get money from me anymore. So,
I can
but that record doesn't exist anymore.
But
So.
I can tell you a story about that.
So no, but I want you to know about your years now. You graduated from school and your years in Miami Beach, because you used to do a lot of shows. And
So it's going to be in Tom 2, of Miami, Florida. I mean, this is only Tom 1.
Okay, all right.
But I used to hang out a lot in the Coconut Grove area.
Grove,
you mentioned that.
Yes. I used to live in Coconut Grove.
Yes.
I worked on Miracle Miles, and I was a director of the John Robert Power modeling agency.
Okay, yeah.
For probably 5 years.
So you've been around.
Oh, and around and around and around. So tell me about Coconut Grove.
Yeah, the Coconut Grove. I can tell you that was some kind of a coming of age from the existentialists will call it like a peak experience, in the sense that I discovered a part of myself that was kind of being
oppressed.
All of a sudden I get to feel better about myself with reggae. I love reggae. And the ambiance in the Grove was out of this world.
Oh, it was fantastic.
It was like,
what was the name of the mall that had a center where they used to have shows in the centers?
You're talking about the complex that they built?
No, it was an old complex, and in the center, it was a great mall there.
Okay, yeah, it's still there.
Yes, it's still there. What's it called? I haven't gone to Coconut Grove in ages.
But all of a sudden I'm going really blank. But if you give me two names, I'll tell you which one.
Because the show is going to end soon. But so you started performing.
But back in the South Beaches. I started impersonating Lionel Richie and Rick James.
Right, because I told you I lived in South Beach for probably 10 or 15 years. And knew all the restaurant, worked at Nick's Miami Beach, Monty's, at the Forge, and so on and so forth.
I did a performance at Forge.
Mangoes and all that.
Those were the days, right?
So now what is, quel est le but? What's the goal of writing those 3 books, and where are you going to go with that?
It's to send a message to many of my compatriots, Haitians who came here with nothing, and they can build a future
if they believe in themselves.
They believe in themselves. If they know, they can go to school and do the right things and succeed.
Let's talk quickly. Where can they get those books?
They can get them on Amazon.
And what do they put?
Mapu Librairie, they can have them there.
In Little Haiti?
Little Haiti.
And what do they put to get that on Amazon?
They can just they just have to type my name, Lionel Guerdes Books, and all 3 of them will pop up.
Lionel Guerdes. Okay. And how do you spell your name?
G as in George, E-R-D David, E-S.
Okay.
And Lionel.
So,
L-Y, with a Y. Not Richie. Not
with a Y. But listen, tell me about, you're going to be part of the book fair.
Yes, it's coming next month, and it's going to be a big one for me, because that's going to expose me to a larger international audience. And books and with the Mapu Société Coucou thing. It's going to be really a big,
if I'm in town, I hope it's on the 15th.
It's on the 24th of November, the last day of the fair.
Okay, because I'm in
2 in the
Washington the
afternoon.
15th to, I can't remember what.
I hope you come back. You're back because I would love to see you in the sitting in the audience.
But I want to make sure that I cover pretty much everything with you. What did I forget to ask you?
You practically cover almost everything. We talk about all the trilogy books.
So do you plan on having other volumes now?
Oh yes, I'm going to have Tom 2, Miami, Florida, and unauthorized and unredacted.
Unauthorized?
Oh yeah, that's why I'm telling you.
That's the one I want.
You have to be very careful with this. I have to make sure that you age appropriate.
Oh my gosh, you don't know how much trouble I could get you in. But it's fantastic, your evolution. I really like that you talked about yourself and then you went through and then where you ended up.
Yeah.
And but you know what, the show is going to come to its end. So let me tell you, I am so proud and so happy to see you doing such a good job and you're letting all our compatriots know that they can fight also out there. And I want to congratulate you and wish you the best in all your endeavors.
Thank you much for Leslie for
that. It was a pleasure having you. It was really a pleasure.
And the same.
And I hope you come back.
I will.
Well, you'll be coming back before the book fair.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure being with you this evening with our guest Lionel Guerdes. I am Leslie Dalencour, Chercher l'artiste. Take a little time to do something good for somebody. I love you. See you next Sunday, same place, same time. Bye.
Are you ready to party?